There comes a moment when trusting the mainstream feels more like betrayal than safety. You read the article, you hear the politician, you sit through the team meeting, and something inside you just whispers, no. But everyone else nods, so you question yourself. That internal tug of war, it's not confusion, it's clarity trying to speak. Glad you made it to the Pattern Decoding, which is a weekly vlog where we fuse historical truth, present chaos, and future foresight into one clear transmission. Each week we will build our insight on a three-leg stool, a painful problem you're likely felt but haven't named, a false belief that's been holding society and maybe you back, and a new belief that can anchor you in clarity and choice. Let's unpack this using our three-legged stool clarity model. First, the painful problem. I've lost trust in mainstream narratives but don't want to live in fear. Then the false belief to break. Truth has to come from authority to be real. And then the new belief to build. Discernment is more powerful than opinion. Let's decode the pressure and free your clarity. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the painful problem of I've lost trust in mainstream narratives but don't want to live in fear. Now, let's be honest. Losing trust in what others still believe in can feel a bit lonely. But you don't want to be a doomsdayer. You're not looking for enemies, but the cracks in the story are too wide to ignore. And that puts you in a strange place. You see the flaws, but you don't want to collapse into fear. You crave sovereignty, but you don't want to isolate. And that tension, it's the signal that you're evolving into a thinker, not just a consumer. Here's the belief that's been quietly conditioning you and all of us for decades. That truth has to come from authority to be real, and it doesn't. But we're trained to defer to the headline, to the expert, to the policy, to the title. But truth isn't validated by position. It's revealed through pattern, consistency, and outcomes. We've been taught that if it doesn't come from a platform, it must be suspect. But that's how systems protect themselves from scrutiny. They gatekeep clarity. Let's stop outsourcing what only your discernment can reveal. Here's the new belief to walk with this week. Discernment is more powerful than opinion. Opinions are loud, but discernment is quiet. Opinions need echo chambers, but discernment needs data, history, and stillness. When you build discernment, you don't need to be told what to believe. You know how to test it yourself. Discernment gives you inner anchoring, emotional neutrality, strategic movement. It helps you observe without absorbing, to listen without agreement, to lead without needing permission. Let's make this real. Let's talk about our first prompt. Where have I recently ignored my own discernment because I didn't want to seem difficult? Prompt number 2. What narrative am I expected to agree with, but feel misaligned all around? Here's some other optional actions you can take. Choose one news story, policy, or system narrative this week. Don't react, decode it. Ask, what patterns are repeating? Who benefits from this being accepted as truth? What would my own truth sound like? This is discernment in action. You're not broken for questioning the norm. You're brave enough to stop borrowing beliefs. And that courage, quiet as it may seem, is how legacies are built. But even if all you do is come back next Thursday, you're building something powerful. Because when trust becomes betrayal, discernment becomes your home.